How do you deal with the stress of scaling a business? That is what I'm going to talk about in today's video. Also, don't forget to subscribe as I release new videos each and every week. Hey everybody, Dan Henry here, founder of GetClients.com and the author of the Wall Street Journal best-selling book, Digital Millionaire Secrets: How I Built an 8-Figure Company Selling My Knowledge Online. And today, let's talk about scale and stress. Now, it doesn't matter what type of company you own, whether you own a physical product company, whether you own a software company, whether you own an info product company, such as an online course or coaching program, an event company, it doesn't matter. When you scale, things become stressful. Believe me, I know this better than anybody because I went from a bedroom to this crappy little office in Spring Hill, Florida that used to be a bar that was also right next to a bar that I had like comic book photos up and it's just this terrible little teeny tiny office, all the way to an 8-figure company, a Wall Street Journal best-selling book, this nice office here in downtown St. Pete, and building a much bigger team than I used to have. And there's a lot of stresses that go with that, and I wish I knew what I'm about to teach you in this video. I wish I knew this years ago, because it absolutely is going to help you deal with the stress. And I don't think you've ever thought about it this way. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, you may think this video is going to be about, diet and exercise and talking to a therapist and supplements to deal with stress, but that's not what this is going to be about, because that is about treating the symptoms. That's putting a Band-Aid on it. I want to talk about solving the problem at its source. So in order to do that, I'd like to reference the movie Ford versus Ferrari, which I recently saw, and I thought this was a great analogy and a great example of how to deal with stress when building a company. So in the movie, you have Matt Damon, who plays Carroll Shelby, and you have Christian Bale, who plays Ken Miles. And to make a long story short, basically the Ford Motor Company decided that they wanted to compete with Ferrari. They wanted to make a car that symbolized speed and being fast and being a winner. And that was how they were going to increase the value of the Ford brand and sell more cars, by creating a car that signified winning. And in order to do that, they wanted to beat Ferrari at the 24-hour Le Mans race, which is a 24-hour race. That's right, 24 straight hours. It's not like NASCAR where you turn left a bunch of times. You actually have to navigate through a winding and treacherous track for 24 hours straight in the dark, obviously, because there's nighttime, and it's just a very dangerous race. If you ever go on YouTube and you look up Le Mans crashes, there are some gnarly crashes. It's very dangerous. And Ford's idea was, if we can beat Ferrari, if we can go to Le Mans and we can win and beat Ferrari, that will say Ford is a winner. Ford can win the Le Mans race, and that will increase the value of our brand. That was their plan. Now, what ended up happening in the movie, spoiler alert, is that they attempted it and they lost. And then they attempted it again, and eventually they won. And it was so funny because when they won, the top 3 cars, first, second, and third place, they all actually crossed the finish line at the same time, was all Ford cars. So they did it. But how did they do it? They did it because when they built the car, they did not sit there and say, okay, how can we figure out how to go faster by a turn by, dealing with stress being a driver? Or how can we win by making our pit crew faster? Or how can we win by, that's not how they won. They won by constantly adjusting and modifying this car to become lighter and faster and more powerful without adding more weight. Because if a car has a more powerful engine and can go faster, and the weight of the car is less, then there's less burden on the engine and it can go faster. And they messed with the aerodynamics and they rebuilt the car over and 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 over again until it could run this race faster than any other car. And that's why the top 3 cars that won were Ford. And then they won multiple years in a row after that at literally what's considered one of the hardest race to win, the 24-hour Le Mans. So what does that have to do with scaling a company? Here's the thing. Most entrepreneurs, when they try to scale a company, they think in terms of a Band-Aid. They think in terms of, how can I deal with this stress? How can I manage my team better? How can I, fix the project management? How can I pour more gas into the engine? How can I go faster by pouring more gas into the engine? How can I make the engine run faster? But they never think about, how can I make the engine run easier? How can I make the car lighter? How can I make my system work smoother with less moving parts so that there's not as much project management, so that there's not as much customer service, so that there's not as much issues to deal with? In other words, stop trying to figure out how to deal with issues better and constantly rebuild your car so that there are less issues. To give you an example, in my company, we were doing 7 figures a month at one point, selling a cheap product for on an order page. And as a result, we had so much problems because we had such a high volume of customers that there was way more support tickets to deal with. There was way more refunds. There was way more chargebacks. There was just more stuff to do because we were charging this much and we were selling it to this many customers. And so I, had multiple meetings, and I talk about this in a different video, but I had multiple conversations with other entrepreneurs, and I came to the conclusion that I needed to rebuild my engine. And so I decided to create a different program that was a higher quality, that cost, the price was much more, so we had to sell to less customers. And instead of having all these crazy funnels and email sequences and automations and countdown timers and all this stuff, all this mess, that I would lighten the load. And all I would do was put out great content that simply said, hey, do you like this content? If so, book a call, talk to my team, and let's see if we can work together. And that's all I did. And so now it became infinitely easier to manage because all it was put out content, get them to book a call, and I have some people on staff that take the calls, make sure it's a fit, make sure that person is right for us and we're right for them, and then we offer them our program. And we were able to go from a 7-figure month years ago, a year and a half, probably like a year and a half, 2 years now, where a 7-figure month, as great as that sounds, was so stressful to maintain because I had so many customers and so much stuff going on and so many processes, to now, when we have a 7-figure month, it's like a fraction of the customers because we're charging a higher price. There's way less systems to manage. There's virtually no support tickets or problems because we onboard every client over the phone. And so they get their logins, they get comfortable. We have 0% refunds. Like, we haven't had a refund request in forever. And we've just literally solved the problem at its source. We rebuilt the engine so that it was lighter, so that we could move faster with less. And you might think, well, Dan, adding a phone team, doesn't that add more? No, it doesn't. Because again, there's so much to manage with automation, and there's so many things that can break, and there's so much to keep up with and so much that you can forget and so much problems that it causes. When you sell over the phone, it's simple. It's, hey, watch my webinar, book a call. Hey, watch my YouTube video, book a call. Hey, read my book, book a call. Get on the phone, boom. It's simple, it's clean, it's light. And that allowed me to scale my company without having the additional stress, because instead of me hoping and wondering how we're going to deal with all these support tickets and refunds and chargebacks and blah, 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 blah. All I have to do is once a week, I get on a team call with my sales team, I motivate them, ask them what issues they had, and I'm done. And then I come here and I film these videos, and that's it, that's my job, done. Because by doing it that way, by making the load lighter, I now have I don't have to deal with refunds or chargebacks. We went from 2 full-time customer service reps to 1 part-time here and there customer service rep because we just don't have that much customer service to deal with. We have no refunds, we have no chargebacks. Cut the problem at its source. So that is how you deal, in my opinion, how you deal with stress as an entrepreneur when you scale is you constantly rebuild the car so that the car can go faster, so that the car is lighter, so that it's easier to maintain, not figure out better ways to maintain it, better ways to deal with it, better ways to pour more gas in it and get faster in the pit. No, just keep rebuilding the car and improving the process until it's, very flawless and easy to win the race. Again, they did not win by doing more. They won by rebuilding the car so that the car could do the same job faster with less. That is how you avoid stress as an entrepreneur that is scaling. Now, if you'd like to learn more about the process I described in this video, about how I transitioned from a low-ticket product to a high-ticket product and scaled to 8 figures, there's an entire section, not just chapter, an entire section in my book all about scaling and raising your prices. And so if you haven't read this book yet, I will leave a link in the description where you can get a copy. I'll even give you the book for free as long as you cover shipping. All right? And if you have read the book and you've watched these YouTube videos and you like what I have to say and you believe that my team, if we were to work together with you, if you believe we can help you grow your offer, start your offer or your company off on the right foot or scale it, if we could work together, I'll also leave a link in the description where you can, yes, you guessed it, book a call so that you can speak to my team. We'll take a look at your business or your business idea. We'll see if we can help, and we'll see if we're a good fit to help you scale like we've helped so many other clients scale to 6 and 7 figures. And if it seems like a good fit, we'll show you what that looks like, and you can make a decision if you want to work with us or not. That's it, all right? Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos, and I'll see you in the next one.